today's video, since we are on the way to SummerSlam, or on the road, not on the way, but you know what I mean, on the road to SummerSlam 2026, I wanted to probably go ahead and give you guys my top 10 favorite SummerSlam matches. Now, of course, I've kind of done top 10 videos like this before and been wanting to do a SummerSlam one for sort of a while, so I kind of wanted to go ahead and do one for this year. Now, I do want to say it was hard because there is a lot of SummerSlam matches that I do like, and probably there is a couple a couple of these matches that I have on my list that probably most of y'all probably won't agree with, but it is what it is. It's my top 10 list, and it's my top 10 favorite. Now, I do want to say, sadly, that there is going to be some matches that probably you would think should be a top 10 favorite for most fans, but of course is not. I will of course start off with a couple honorable mentions, and then of course we'll move in to the top 10. Some might shock you, some might actually be you guys' favorite SummerSlam matches, and I do want to say probably a little bit of a shocking one that I have at number 1. Now, before we get into this video, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell for future upcoming videos here on the BrewCrew channel. I know it's been a while since I did my last video. Just kind of been, again, I know I've always said this, just dealing with work, and then of course this week gonna kind of be crazy a little bit. Probably this might be the only video I might do this week. I don't know, depending on how the rest of the week really goes. Just other personal stuff really that I've been working on, but finally found a day, which is today, to record this video and hopefully get this out for y'all, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. And again, hit that subscribe button and notification bell and all of that. And before we get on, probably will say, let me know your guys' top 10 favorite SummerSlam matches in the comments down below. Definitely would like to see. Probably would say the same thing towards the end of the video. But anyway, enough with that spiel. Let's go ahead and get right into the video, and let's go ahead and start off with a couple honorable mentions that mostly are just off the top of my head. First, CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy, TLC from SummerSlam 2009. Definitely a really great TLC match. Not quite get into the top 10, but I did recently watch this match not too long ago, and I definitely really did enjoy this match. It's a really good match. And even though this match was a kickoff show match, it's still probably a lot of people's favorite SummerSlam match, and that of course is this tag team title match between the Usos and the New Day. Probably a lot of people would say it's one of their best matches they've had in their tag team rivalry that of course happened back in 2017. So definitely, of course, honorable mention. Probably could have been in the top 10, but it was another really close one. Honestly, this is an honorable mention, but / an underrated one. AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens at the same SummerSlam, at SummerSlam 2017, with Shane McMahon as the special guest referee. Not a lot of people talk about this match, and every time when I do rewatch the show and I rewatch this match, the match is really good. I don't know what it was back in 2017 with AJ Styles and Kevin Owens during that rivalry. They just had really great chemistry with one another, and every match they had was really good. But something about that SummerSlam match was really good, even with, of course, the involvement of Shane McMahon being the special guest referee. And potentially the final honorable mention that I can kind of say off my head really would be the SummerSlam 2022 match between Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch. Now, honestly, shockingly enough, this is the only women's match that I can mention, because I couldn't really think of any other women's championship matches or any other women's matches that I could have done on this. Now, actually thinking off the top of my head, could have done the triple threat match from last year's SummerSlam with Naomi, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky. I'll probably have that as an honorable mention as well, but a high honorable mention, probably close to my top 10. So those are some of the honorable mentions that are kind of off the top of my head that I kind of wanted to mention, that didn't really come into the top 10. Now let's go ahead and get right into the top 10. Starting off the top 10, we're going to go from number 10 to, of course, number 1. Starting off at number 10, probably a little bit low for some people in the top 10. That, of course, is SummerSlam 2002's match between Rey Mysterio and Kurt Angle. Now, SummerSlam 2002 is a great show altogether. There's so many great moments, great matches, but every time when people specifically talk about this show or mention this show, the one match that's always talked about a lot is, of course, not the Shawn Michaels Triple H match, not even the main event with The Rock and Brock Lesnar. It's mostly the beginning match, the starting match between Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio. Of course, it's not even close to 10 minutes, but it is a fast-paced, amazing match. I definitely enjoyed every time. I know it's probably pretty low for a top 10 SummerSlam match, but it's not because of it being slow. It's just because there was a lot of other matches that I could have put on this list, or that I have on this list, but it was just trying to find a perfect place to put it. So, but it does still be a top 10 SummerSlam match, in my opinion. Definitely, if you have not watched it, definitely go and watch it. And it's also been mentioned as a match for non-wrestling fans to watch first if they're getting into wrestling. So, again, at number 10, Rey Mysterio versus Kurt Angle at SummerSlam 2022. Now, coming in at number 9, probably one match that honestly is not mentioned a lot anymore. I don't know if it is because of the situation with this one wrestler with Edge being in AEW now. But coming in at number 9 is the first time ever match between Edge and Seth Rollins back at SummerSlam in 2022. Of course, it was the start of their heated three-match rivalry, which of course ended in the Hell in a Cell match at Crown Jewel. But this was definitely much worth the wait for a first-time ever match. These two definitely clicked instantly. Both put on a really great showing and really great match between one another. Definitely, of course, another match. If you guys have not, of course, seen this match, definitely go and watch it. Definitely was match of the night. That and, of course, Cena versus Roman were two of probably the best matches, though, on a SummerSlam 2020, on the SummerSlam 2022 card. A SummerSlam that is up and down a little bit. It's okay, but it's not good, because it does have some really weird matches when you kind of look back at the match card. But then again, at number 9, I got Edge versus Seth Rollins. Coming in at number 8, definitely, of course, probably a little low for some people, but it's still a top 10 match for me. That, of course, is Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio in the custody for Dominic ladder match at SummerSlam 2005. Definitely one of my favorite just ladder matches and all that. Of course, amazing spots in this, and of course a really great ending with, of course, Rey Mysterio winning and keeping the custody of Dom. Of course, it was a really crazy story as well. The rivalry between the two was crazy as well. So it was definitely really great. I do remember watching this match for the first time. It's a really great match, and all that. So yeah, so coming in at number 8, I got the custody of Dom, Eddie versus Rey ladder match. Now coming in at number 7, we're going to kind of move more into the 2010 SummerSlam which of course, this is SummerSlam 2013 with Cena versus Daniel Bryan. Probably in some people's eyes, this could be probably an underrated SummerSlam match / SummerSlam main event. But honestly, it's always such an amazing match between the two, and the two just had really unbelievable out-of-nowhere chemistry with one another. And of course, it was the match that kind of introduced Daniel Bryan having the running knee as his finisher. And even though, yes, of course, after the match, there was, of course, the cash-in with Randy Orton spoiling the moment for Daniel Bryan becoming the WWE Champion, which, of course, started the year of Bryan in 2013, going all the way to 2014 to WrestleMania 30. But still, of course, this, of course, is technically what started everything, this specific SummerSlam match. John Cena choosing him to defend the title against at SummerSlam in 2013. So, of course, honestly enough, this is a really great match. Again, if you guys have not seen this match, definitely go and watch this match. Underrated SummerSlam match, but in my opinion, it's a top 10 SummerSlam match, coming in at number 7. At number 6 is honestly might shock you, but this is just a personal favorite of mine that I just loved from last year's WrestleMania that I feel like people don't talk about enough, and that, of course, is CM Punk versus Gunther from last year's SummerSlam for the World Heavyweight title. Now, yes, I know mostly some people with this match would mostly remember the ruse of the century with Seth Rollins cashing in his Money in the Bank after faking his knee injury so he can spoil CM Punk's moment. But I feel like people tend to forget that this match was a really good match. Probably another underrated banger, but this was just a banger of a match that I wasn't expecting to really be a really great match. Now, I don't want to say it's one of my, of course, favorites, or not one of my favorites, not what I'm trying to say, like one of the best SummerSlam matches. Like, no, it's a top 10 SummerSlam match for me, but it's definitely a match I feel like people tend to already forget that CM Punk went toe-to-toe with Gunther in a really unbelievable and great match. And there was a lot of emotions in the match as well, because you got to also remember at the time, this was like CM Punk's first World Heavyweight title shot. I was about to say his first world title shot, but we forget that his technically first world title shot when he came back to WWE was actually against John Cena back in Night of Champions last year. But this was like his first moment of like we can probably see him actually win and finally become a world champion again. And that, of course, what happens, he goes on to win it, even though, yes, he gets cashed in, but then you got to remember later on, goes to Saturday night's main event, faces Jay for the vacant world title, and finally becomes world champion again. And he did, and of course, Punk still won the match, and of course, that's what's made the Ruse of the Century cash in more interesting, because of course, Seth Rollins, being a big CM Punk hater, wanted to ruin the moment with the Ruse of the Century, with the Ruse of the Century and all that. But even though it is probably overshadowed by that moment with Seth Rollins, this match was still really unbelievable. A really great match, banger of a match, like I said before. So that's why it comes into my top 10 at number 6. I still remember vividly watching this live for the first time last year, and this was definitely an unbelievable match. If you guys did not watch it or have not seen it, I don't know how. If you guys haven't, definitely go watch it or go rewatch it. If you guys don't remember much from this match, definitely go do that. Now coming in at number 5, we're actually going to stay in the same year with the same SummerSlam, which of course coming in at 5, eking in the top 5, is of course the six-pack TLC match, with a six-pack TLC match, tag team match at SummerSlam last year with the tag team titles on the line. Now honestly, I'm trying to remember the tag teams. I think the tag teams were, the tag champs was the Wyatt Six, I think the Motor City Machine Gun, Street Profits, I believe DIY. I know one of the teams with the makeshift team of Andrade and Rey Fenix, and I believe Fraxium. I think those were the teams. I can't remember if DIY was in this match or not, but I can't remember. But man, oh man, this was one of probably the craziest and wildest TLC matches I probably ever watched live. Again, I watched this live last year, and this was definitely the match of the night. I forgot. I think it was night 1. It was match of the night. It was the match of both nights combined together, and there was of course some amazing matches on the show, some amazing and some pretty good matches on this show throughout the 2 nights, throughout the 2 nights. But it was just this match, just with the 6 teams, like this, like looking back at it, like you see like how, like, I want to say peak, like how high the SmackDown tag team division was back in 2025, and you look at it now, it's 2 major differences, but still, like, you just look at this match and you see how good and almost great this SmackDown tag division was. So great enough that they had this TLC match. And of course, again, it was one of probably the best multi-team TLC matches I probably have ever watched. It was amazing, really amazing, tore the house down, stole the show, and it comes in at number 5, eking into my top 5. Now, coming in at number 4 is the match that ended the heated rivalry between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar in the last man standing match at SummerSlam 2022. Now, this one, of course, is personal to me as well, because, of course, I went to this SummerSlam, of course, did a video about it, but I went to this SummerSlam, I watched this match live, in person. I was able to rewatch it and, like, rewatch the whole show. And man, oh man, this is probably one of the craziest last man standing matches ever. Has some unbelievable moments. Of course, the unbelievable great moment of literally Brock Lesnar tearing the freaking ring out of the ground with the forklift, whatever the frick it's called, machine that he had. That was, of course, an amazing moment. And of course, the only way Roman to win was to freaking pile everything onto Brock Lesnar to finally win the match and keep him down for the 10. But probably one of my favorite last man standing matches. I've never really been a fan. I don't want to say been a fan, but like definitely been not a fan of the last man standing matches. There's been some good ones, but every other one is just eh. But this one, by far, probably one of my favorites I've ever seen and that I've watched in wrestling. But yeah, coming in at number 4, Brock and Roman, SummerSlam 2022. Now coming in at number 3, we go back to SummerSlam 2013, and you probably know which match this is. Probably another favorite among fans. That, of course, is the Best versus the Beast. Brock Lesnar versus CM Punk, man oh man, a no disqualification match. Definitely, of course, watched this for the first time, and this was definitely probably one of my favorite SummerSlam matches I probably watched when I watched it for the first time. If you guys have never watched this match, I do highly recommend go and watch this match. It was unbelievable. The story was really good. And even though, like, if you're a fan of, like, multiple finishers or multiple kickouts, because, of course, they just took 1 out of 5 for Brock Lesnar to win. But even with that, they didn't need to do multiple finishers, you know. That it was just one GTS and then the one F5 to end it all, you know, in the match. And of course, Brock Lesnar won. They didn't need that. It was just a full-on war. Paul Heyman, of course, got involved because that was the story going into this match. But again, this match was really great. All-out war between these two. Of course, shockingly enough, this was CM Punk's last SummerSlam match before he left, before the first time he left WWE before he came back. But it was definitely pretty shocking that, of course, at the time before 2024, 2023, when he came back, that this was his last SummerSlam match. And of course, it was a banger of a match with the best versus the best, the best versus the beast. So of course, it comes into my top 3 at number 3. Okay, so this one is probably going to be very interesting and maybe controversial, don't really know. But coming in at number 2 for my number 2 favorite SummerSlam match is John Cena versus AJ Styles. Now, I know that this match is by far probably a lot of people's number 1 because honestly enough, this is an epic classic. A lot of people do say in their trilogy or so matches, probably now would say their crown jewel match is the best of their rivalry or of their series of matches. But people would always probably say this SummerSlam match was probably one of their best ones. And I do agree with that. Like, this is probably one of the best SummerSlam classics probably you'll ever see. Like, the amazing back and forth, the near falls, the amazing spots that these two had. It was amazing. And of course, as always, they had just amazing instant chemistry. Like, you got to remember as well, this was their second match ever against each other on a pay-per-view. Because remember, earlier in the year at Money in the Bank was their first, which was still a really good match. But this was their second match one-on-one, I believe. Second match ever one-on-one. And they just instantly clicked. And you got to remember, of course, it was 2016. It was a big year for Styles. He just came to the WWE, and now he's in this big-time rivalry with John Cena. He got the win, which was one of the biggest wins, like, end of the year, especially for AJ, because, of course, he would go on to become WWE champion the next month, I believe, after defeating John Cena. And then that rivalry would rekindle now for the WWE title, and it was just, man. But back to this match, amazing, classic. I don't know any other words to really say, but it comes in at number 2, and you guys might be shocked of what I have at number 1. And speaking of number 1 is, of course, I don't want to say of course, but because probably guys are going to be shocked, but is, in my opinion, my number 1 favorite SummerSlam match in the history of the show that I enjoy watching. We go to SummerSlam 2017. You guys probably know what it is with me saying that, is the Fatal 4-Way main event, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, and Samoa Joe. I truly believe that this is an underrated match that I feel like people do not talk about enough. This was an all-out war between all 4 of these men, and literally Braun Strowman shined in this. Like, if you go back to watch this match, you would see how big, like, of course, yes, Braun Strowman's big, but like how big and how much momentum Braun Strowman had back in 2017. And it was this match. Because you got to remember, after this match, he was instantly in a program rivalry with Lesnar. And a lot of people believed he should have been the one to end Lesnar's reign as Universal Champion. And I think he was a favorite in that match to win the title. You know, but like, I feel like people tend to forget that this match was an all-out war. There was probably some unbelievable spots by every superstar, including Roman Reigns, who, yes, of course, was not very liked by fans in 2017. But still, there were some amazing matches. Literally, at one point, Brock was freaking carted off because of the stuff that happened because he literally got power slammed through 2 announce tables and was squished by another by Braun Strowman. And then later came out and still finished the match and still finished with the win and still was the Universal Champion. Only gripe that I have with this match, but it overshadows, though, the amazingness, in my opinion, of how great this match is. And I do believe that this is probably one of the biggest underrated hidden gem classic SummerSlam matches that I believe people tend to forget. So, in my opinion, this lands number 1 for me because I enjoy this match almost every time. And I know, yes, it is over AJ Styles and Cena, but this is my list. This is my number 1. Number 1, Braun, Brock, Joe, Roman. SummerSlam 2017. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below of my list. And of course, like I said before earlier in the video, let me know your guys' top 10 SummerSlam matches as well in the comments down below. Definitely would like to see what your guys' thoughts are and what your guys' list are as well. So definitely do that in the comments below. If you made it all the way to this point in the video, thank you guys so much for watching. And of course, as always, if you guys enjoyed the video, you guys know what to do. Hit that like button, also hit the subscribe button and the notification bell for future upcoming videos here on the BrewCrew channel. Don't know when the next video will be because of course definitely took a while for this one, might take a while for the next one, but it would just depend on how everything really is on outside of me recording. But anyway, again, hope you guys enjoy the video, do everything that I said before. And as always, I hope you guys have an amazing, wonderful day. And as always, I will see you guys in my next video. Peace.